we need to inculcate the sense of pride that this is our language.
Now, when you see all these things, I have seen places where cricket commentary happens only in Sanskrit.
Yeah, that's quite a recent phenomenon. Cricket commentary, they will play cricket not in the Western clothes, they will have dhoti and kurta, and the commentary will be in Sanskrit. And they are also, giving claps and, doing some fun and all. Everything is Sanskrit.
But suppose you put it in the name that Swami Vivekananda once asked Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and you put my wisdom in their name, suddenly it becomes unacceptable.
Yes.
So people do use names of scriptures to say that this text says like this. In Bangalore, they have started a bike club where all the bikers speak only in Sanskrit.
Great.
My daughter was saying, Amma, PHONE.
Huh.
That is phone.
Phone.
We spelled as phone. But it is FONE, right?
Yes, correct. You are absolutely right.
You are right in a way. So this mistakes won't happen, such mistakes won't happen in Sanskrit.
Sanskrit is more than a language. It's a key to timeless wisdom and culture. I am Anjali N. Kumar, your host, guiding you to know more about the world of Sanskrit. Today we have our honored guest, Dr. Gauri Mahulikar, Academic Director, Chinmaya International Foundation. Alongside, we have Brahmachari Ved Chaitanya ji, who is an eminent scholar in the world of Sanskrit. Can you start with sharing us what's the meaning of Sanskrit?
See, the word Sanskrit itself is very beautiful in Sanskrit. It means Samyak Kritam iti Sanskritam. That which is very well made is called as Sanskritam. Now, why a language is called as well made? Because, see, language is a very natural phenomenon. It is not that a group of people sat together and decided that we are going to create a language. It's not, language doesn't work like that. It is very organic process. Everybody starts speaking. But then why is a language called as well made? That is because the structure of grammar that Sanskrit has is a very well made structure. It's a very well formulated, defined structure. And that is why I feel that it is a very unique language, that the language itself is called as well made. That's what I feel.
Yes, there is another shade to that. I would add, there is a very nice book on etymology called Nirukta by Upacharya way back in 7th or 8th century BCE. He has given the meanings to the prefixes. So, sam is the prefix, sam plus kru, right? Kru is to do, and sam is the prefix, and sam he says eki karane. Eki karane. So, where the prakriti and pratyaya come together, when the people as a community they come together and then they start speaking that language, that becomes their common language, that is Sanskrit. So, this is another shade to the meaning of Sanskrit.
Okay, so now you said community speaking together. So in history, do we have a phase where people speaking in Sanskrit? Was it a layman's language?
Yes, it was. It was a common language. Everybody spoke that, and that's why, as in a common language, we have many variations, right? Similarly, in Sanskrit also we had variations, and sometimes in the common language we speak something in one meaning, but the other community will speak the same word in some other meaning. So like that in Sanskrit also, and that again I would like to quote from Nirukta Yaskacharya, because way back 7th, 8th century BCE, from that time onwards, so he says, Shavatihi gati karma kambojeshu eva. Shavati is a gatyarthaka root, that means to go. But then in that sense, it is used only in the Cambodia Pradesh. Cambodia is modern Iran, Afghanistan, the northwestern part of Bharat. And Shava iti Aryavarteshu. So like a dead body or a corpse, dead body. In that meaning, it is used in the Aryavarta. So in that, that speaks of the pragmatism, and that speaks of, the variations in the meanings of the same word as we find in our local languages, right?
See, one thing is studying history to know whether there was a time that Sanskrit was spoken or not. Forget about that. We have historical evidence also, but I am saying, just think about it. Can a language survive for 10,000 plus years without being spoken? It's not possible. If it was not a common language of conversation, of communication, how can it survive for such a long time?
Sanskrit have a term like this elite language.
Now that is made later on.
Okay.
See, it is like when English was introduced by Britishers in Bharata, it was elite's language or not?
Yeah, it is.
Why? Because the commoners were using some other language that was known to them. Now with Sanskrit, exact opposite thing happened. Sanskrit was being spoken for a long time, but because of the structure and because of the rules, etc., as Gauriji was mentioning, that when we start to speak, it goes through changes. And that those changes are called as Prakrita. So Sanskrit itself in different places was changed and they started speaking about it. That became Prakrita. Now Prakrita became so popular that very rarely people used to use Sanskrit.
Okay.
So then it remained with learned people or with top people of authority. Not that others will not speak it or will not study. Nah. See, even Prakrita is Sanskrit only, but some variations are there, some simplification is there. But Sanskrit was spoken by everyone. This concept of Sanskrit being elite's language is a recent phenomenon. It was not there before.
Okay. So now we spoke about the elite language. How it got that spiritual status, the holy language?
See, it is a very interesting question because, see, people often forget that language is just a means of communication. We should not connect language to any religion or spirituality. See, if we see today in the world, somehow Urdu, people think is language of Muslims. So the moment you say something in Urdu, they think you are talking about Islam. Not necessary. Language is a language. Language is a mode of communication. We know as a historical fact that Urdu was born in Bharata.
Yeah, Bharat.
So Hindi, Urdu, they are all cousins of each other. But somehow in our mind what we have done, Hindu, okay, Hindi. Islam, Urdu. This division is wrong. Even when we take different sessions in English also nowadays on Sanskrit texts, on Hinduism, spiritual texts, they ask lot of questions. Why are you taking in English? English is a language which people understand. If you would have understood Sanskrit, we would have spoken in Sanskrit. The same opposition was also faced by Gurudev. When Gurudev started talking, Swami Chinmayananji, he started giving lectures on Upanishads and Gita in English. Everybody said, how can you speak Indian literature, Indian scriptures in their language? See, language is a mode of communication. It has nothing to do with a particular religion or a particular subject in the entire gamut of scriptures. Now, one more thing that we must understand is, in Bharata itself, there was nothing called as spirituality as a different branch. Indian scriptures are such that spirituality and secular knowledge go together. There is no text which is called as spiritual text. Mahabharata, Ramayana, they have everything. They have spirituality in it, they have mathematics in it, they have science in it, they have politics in it, economics in it.
Yeah.
All the subjects are together in that same text. So this concept of Sanskrit is a spiritual or language for spirituality, that's also not true. All kinds of literature is available in Sanskrit, not just spiritual. Okay? And as I said, that division of spirituality and secular knowledge is created by us.
I would add to that by saying that as he mentioned, different topics or different subjects, all the books on those different branches of learning are in Sanskrit. If Sanskrit were to be the language only of religion or spirituality, it wouldn't have been so. But you find mathematics, you find chemistry, you find metallurgy, you find biology, and even the veterinary science, that is in Sanskrit. We have Mrigapakshi Shastra, we have Hastyayurveda, Gajayurveda, Ashwayurveda, Ayurveda for the elephants, Ayurveda for horses, Ayurveda for cattle, all in Sanskrit.
So can we term it as, the evidence posed describing Sanskrit as a scientific one?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. And see, even today, this is history.
Yeah.
Even today, people are writing books in Sanskrit on all subjects. It is not that only spiritual science should be written in Sanskrit. You are writing something about the world, do not use Sanskrit. No, even today, people are creating literature which has not, which is not specific to spirituality. So, as I said, Sanskrit is a language. We should not say that it is only for spirituality or only for one particular religion. That is not right.
So when we come back to the spoken Sanskrit, how can we revive the Sanskrit?
See, this word revive is a very dangerous word. I'll tell you why. Little background, let me give. Many times, we feel that it is not happening now, and therefore we need to revive it. However, there are many places even today that Sanskrit is spoken. I am saying not just as a language of the city or the village, but there are many communities, many groups are there where they speak in Sanskrit. Even recently, very interestingly, I came across in Bangalore, they have started a bike club where all the bikers speak only in Sanskrit.
Great.
Now, when you see all these things, I have seen places where cricket commentary happens only in Sanskrit.
Yeah, that's quite a recent phenomenon. Cricket commentary, they will play cricket not in the western clothes, they will have dhoti and kurta, and the commentary will be in Sanskrit, and they are also giving claps and doing some fun and all everything is Sanskrit.
Is it that easy to learn Sanskrit?
It's very easy.
Okay.
I tell you, the most difficult thing for us Bharatiyas, for Indians, is to learn English. And if we have learnt English,
We can
all our regional languages and Sanskrit are very easy. Why? Because they come naturally to us. They come very naturally to us. And I always say this, that Sanskrit is 100% phonetic language. The only language which is 100% phonetic, which means what? The way you write, that is exactly the way you speak. There are no two things. There is no concept of spelling and pronunciation different. So if you write a will be pronounced as a, irrespective of where you are using, irrespective of how many times are you using, irrespective of anything else.
Okay.
So ka is ka, a is a, it is pronounced in the same way, it is written in the same way. But English is not like that. English A will be pronounced as a, pronounced as a, pronounced as a. See, I am not trying to demean the language. I am trying to show that the difficult part we have already learned. Where we have to learn the spelling also, the pronunciation also, and the meaning also. In Sanskrit, spelling and pronunciation is exact same, and meaning exactly follows the word.
So is it not grammar centric?
All languages are grammar centric. One more point in this, before I forget, we don't have anything as a silent letter. In English and other languages, we don't pronounce, though it is there in the spelling. Here, as you see the morph, the form, so is your pronunciation of that, right? So there is phonetics and that morphology. They are synced together. There is no difference at all in the language of linguistics.
My daughter was saying, Amma, P-H-O-N-E. That is
Phone.
phone. We spelled as phone. But it is F-O-N-E, right?
Yes, correct. You are absolutely right.
You are right in a way. So these mistakes won't happen, such mistakes won't happen in Sanskrit. Because you spell as you write and you write as you spell.
So what about the structure, grammar structure?
The structure is, we call this Sanskrit as, Prakriti Pratyayatmika Bhasha. So there is a base word and there is a pratyaya. There is some suffix to that. You add the pratyaya, they both join, and then the words can be formulated. So, if you can take a word count of dictionaries of other languages, you may come to a finite number, like Which language you speak? Malayalam. So Malayalam will have a dictionary. It will have some 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 words. In Sanskrit, we don't have any dictionary which compiles all the words in Sanskrit, because this is Prakriti Pratyayatmika. I will exemplify so that it becomes clear for the audience as well. You know, the word for water is jala, okay, jala or neera, and you add a suffix to that, the is one who gives. So jala the means one who gives water, that is the cloud. Now the suffix will remain the same. You can replace the word jala with 100 other synonyms to water, right? In English we had WATER, only one word, or at the most you can use H2O formula or aquaregia, but here ekashatam jalanamani, okay, and then vari, ambu, toya, you know, even kam is jalam, and therefore kanja, you change the suffix, the meaning will change. The is giver, ja is one which is born of. So that which grows in the water is lotus. So Kanja, Varija, Neeraja, Jalaja, Sarasija, so many words for Kamala. So this is how, you know, the words get formed, and there is no end to that. Now this word you take, you add another suffix to that, another word to that, like asana, Kamalasana. Kamalasana is Lakshmi, Kamalasana is Brahmadeva, right? So like that, or Kamalapani, one who holds Kamala in the... See, this is how you can go on increasing the words which you add to the base word which we call Prakriti, and you can form number of words. How can any dictionary compile all these words? It is impossible. And therefore the word count, the vocabulary in Sanskrit is too high to be compiled in any dictionary, I say.
So, no, one second. Before that, you see, she just explained how number of words in Sanskrit can go to infinity. Now, I'll tell you where Vyakarana comes in. Vyakarana makes sure that the meaning of the word remains same. And Vyakarana makes sure that that word has to be formed in that way alone. Varija means born from water. It can mean lotus. It can mean somebody who is born from water. It can mean all that. But it can never become Javari. It has to be Varija. Kamala Pani can never become Pani Kamala. Because then the meaning will be different. So what I am saying is the structure of grammar is so perfect that though n number of words can be formed, but the grammar structure makes sure that that word which is formed has to be perfect word and has to give the same meaning. By nature it can give 100 meanings, no problem. But then that word has to be perfect in grammar. The grammar structure makes sure that there is no variation in it. And that is where the grammar of Sanskrit plays a part. It is the grammar of Sanskrit which gives the flexibility to the language Sanskrit. So this concept of Prakriti Pratyaya, what Gauriji was talking about, that Prakriti Pratyaya concept comes and that can create so many words because the grammar allows that Prakriti Pratyaya to come together only in one particular way to give that particular meaning. So that is where the brilliance of Sanskrit comes in.
So it is that easy. So how can we include Sanskrit as a whole language in curriculum for students? It is there. Sanskrit is there, but usually students choose just to score high marks. It's that easy, they can score high marks. So how can we get a shift out of it?
See, two levels of answers are possible with this question. See, one thing is, people should feel the need to include it in their curriculum or what they want to study. Always the change happens with people. It's a simple demand and supply rule that we use in commerce. If there is demand, supply will be there. So first of all, when people start to feel that no, my children should study Sanskrit or I should focus more on it and I want to know more about it, then it will automatically be included in the curriculum.
Why should someone feel that?
now that goes to another discussion, because why should you feel it? That is because Sanskrit is a key to all our scriptures. All our ancient texts are written in Sanskrit. If I want to understand what is exact meaning of what is said in Ramayana or Mahabharata or Vedas or Bhagavad Gita or any text that I am studying, it is always good that I understand the original text as it is. See, nowadays we have universities, and we have some additional universities called as WhatsApp University, Instagram University, and the information that is circulated in that, we find is just, sorry to use the word, but ridiculous. Because there is no proof for that. When something comes out through a proper university, we expect that there is a kind of research that has happened behind it to put that information across. But in social media, there is nobody who is doing fact checking, nobody who is doing any kind of research, and they are just putting. Now, how do I know whether Bhagavad Gita says this or not? How do I know? Because I have only read translations in my life. So if I have only read translations, my entire knowledge is based on how the person has translated. And if the person has translated wrongly, I will never know what is the original. So to know the original text, we must study Sanskrit. And I tell you, when we study the language, the original text becomes so easy to understand. It itself gives you meaning. You don't even have to look there for meaning. It itself presents the meaning to you, and then nobody can fool me. So nowadays when I get messages on WhatsApp, that Bhagavad Gita says, I have only one reply. Where? In which verse Bhagavad Gita says like this? Please tell me. Or any text, Varaha Purana says, or they will use such big words. Why? Because people know, if I tell you that me and Gauri ji one day we were speaking and we thought that this is a nice idea, people may not listen. But suppose you put it in the name that Swami Vivekananda once asked Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and you put my wisdom in their name, suddenly it becomes acceptable.
Yes.
So people do use names of scriptures to say that this text says like this. But the moment I know the language, nobody can fool me. It's for many years that people have fooled us because we did not know our own language. This is one of the reasons why we should study Sanskrit. We'll come to more reasons.
Yeah. Another thing, because we need to inculcate the sense of pride that this is our language.
Right.
Unless and until we have that sort of confidence and pride in our own language, which is not just a language but which is the carrier and a vehicle of our culture, we won't study that. So first, if we want to be Indian, be rooted with India, then we must know what is the language which carries that Bharatiyata, and that is Sanskrit. And therefore I have to learn Sanskrit. So that sort of, pride. And now with this NEP 2020, I tell you, there are so many universities, colleges, everybody is talking about IKS all of a sudden, Bharatiya Jnana Parampara. And as we were discussing, all the branches of knowledge are written down in Sanskrit, and therefore I must know Sanskrit. It is not just a scoring. And in that scoring also, when you said that children opt for that because it is scoring, there is, this is what you can say, the etattu asmakam bhushanam natu bhushanam. Why? Because, it is like mathematics. Why it is scoring? Because it is like mathematics. The moment you say it is like mathematics, it becomes very scientific and structured and analytical. Won't you like to study such a language then?
One, that mathematics and Sanskrit actually are very much similar.
When she was telling right now that this is a complex or complicated language, I said yes, it is complicated.
So do it.
Do it. Take it as a challenge. Sanskrit is the only language, perhaps the surviving language in the world which has maintained the Dvivachana, and that is for a purpose. The Mann Ki Baat of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is being translated every session into Sanskrit.
See, hearing is the best way to study a language. So actually, if I want to know myself, if I want to be myself, I need to know my culture. And to know my culture, I need to know my language.
Right.
Let me explain this a little bit further.